Obviously, it's always awesome to get things rolling day one, and it's what we expected from a strength and conditioning aspect carrying over to the football field. We feel like it's a team with a lot to prove, and I think we approach practice today in that manner. A lot of positive things to get excited about, and like anything, a lot of stuff that needs to be corrected. Miles to go as it relates to what we want to do and what we want to accomplish, but a solid start, and looking forward to getting pads on here in a couple days, but we'll continue the course as per the NCAA allows us to practice in spiders until then. So questions, please.
How was it, this new facility, being able to use it for full practice?
Rumor was it so to accommodate you guys, because you guys wanted more room to film and shit, and to film and stuff. It's really important because the weather is what it is in South Florida, right? And when you have this much space, this is functional space. There's nothing better for a football team than actual functional space. As you saw, we were able to, the DBs could get their entire drops. They weren't squatting on short routes. They weren't constricted to minimizing some of the drill space they're used to doing. The O-line and D-line had plenty of space to break up the different position groups and have more effective drills and have more range in their drills as well. So very thankful to the administration and all the people that donated to make this thing possible. It's a beautiful facility. And the other parts are being finalized as well. So really grateful and awesome to be out here today.
Before the start of camp, there was word of an extension for you.
I'm sorry.
Before we started fall camp, the news of you signing a contract extension with the university. So that you could say, what does that mean to you as you continue to build towards the future for this program?
Yeah, it's I'm super blessed. I feel grateful beyond what words can express. And I mentioned this morning, we've done a lot of good things, and there's a lot more good and great things and elite things to come, and we feel like we're just getting started. But it's Miami's in my blood, always has been, always will be. We're working at a higher clip, at a higher pace, at a more intense level than we ever had before. So grateful to the administration and everything that they do, and honestly, I'm glad that's kind of been put to bed so we could focus on what's really important, that's this football team.
Mario, just kind of on that, there's some conflicting reports about years added. Is there a way that the fans, we can tell them how many years were added, just so we can report the right information so that everybody knows what? Yeah,
that's something I won't get into. Being a private institution, we reserve that right, so I think we'll stay with what was published.
Mario, you said on the radio this morning that Luka Gilbert's going to be out for the season. Mm-hmm. With him out, just how do you feel about the depth at tight end right now?
Well, right now at the start of camp, I feel good. Obviously, when you have an injury like that to a player that had significant experience as a freshman, and a guy with those size and specs, that's a real injury and a real loss. And at the same time, I don't know how much you guys got to watch today. That's a talented group and a very physical and tough group. And I think what we have to take into account is Coach Viti is really good at what he does and getting guys ready. And what we've seen so far, we don't think that we'll skip a beat offensively. In fact, we think these guys are going to play at a high level. They're going to be treated and coached that way, and they're going to be out there competing against an excellent group of defenders on a daily basis. So we feel very confident.
Specifically with the two freshmen, just what strides did you see from them in spring, and now as you transition to fall, what are you hoping to see from them?
Well, the first thing they did, they came with the right attitude, which is everything. And their approach on the daily was impacted by some of the stuff they saw throughout the final parts of last season. They joined us for practice, which was obviously a tremendous benefit to them. And their transformation in the weight room, in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 pounds, a couple of them, has really made a difference. They're more confident putting their hand on the ground, taking care of the C-gap. They're more confident fighting through, contested catches and situations that put big bodies on them where they're getting yanked and clawed at and whatnot. They've shown that they're physically prepared to take on the rigors that come with being a tight end at the Power 4 level. So what I've seen from them, they're tough, they're smart, they're willing, they put in the time. If they give us the time, we knew that we recruited talented guys. Now it's a matter of getting them, hardening them and making them more callous and more resilient, and just getting the repetitions. The more reps, the better.
Mario, when the guys yesterday that were saying that we're going to get to this point, you've had this group together since spring ball, but now that we're ready to get fall camp started.
Yeah.
What was that, the energy as you guys got day one in the woods today?
Yeah, they want to be in pads, which is awesome to see. Don't sense anything fake from them. I think there's great residue of legacy from the previous team that this team took seriously, took to heart, and implemented in their approach. And they were really challenged by Coach Irv Young and his staff all summer, which in turn guys like Mark Fletcher and Mo Toure challenged the group as well. Because that's going to show up, that there's no substitute for that. So that's what I see, but I don't think there's any time or room to overpraise any of these guys. They have a lot to prove. And on a daily basis, they know, and we talked about it, they're going to be tested. And this should be the most challenging camp that we have had for the right reasons in a smart fashion, but we need to present our guys with adverse situations and see them come through.
With third Scroggins, he played a little bit last year. Mm-hmm. What did you see in those flashes that he did get on the field, and what has you encouraged about?
Yeah, we joked about it this morning because those guys played a good amount, but a lot of times in their rotational opportunities, you had guys like Maine and Mesidor like waving them off, like, hey man, I'm not coming out, that's fine. These guys have to understand that you have to be able to sustain a certain level of play for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 plays a game. Third's opportunities came in some really big moments, and in those opportunities he showed physicality, discipline, and relentless effort. He's about 250 pounds now. He had a little bit of work done in the offseason, but he's a full throttle guy now. We're progressing him back maybe for a few reps shy of what he would regularly take, but he's a full speed player, and I think he's going to be a great one.
Mario, on that discussion about the defensive line, so speaking with Marquise Lightfoot, Lightfoot at 240, 275. Speak on the strides those two guys have made and replacing guys like Mesidor and how difficult that may be.
They're starting to understand the importance of consistency. There were no more consistent players I've ever been around than Francis Mainoa and Inez Cooper and those other guys I mentioned on the edges, Mesidor and Bain. And these guys pick that up. When you come in young and those guys are playing, you either take a back seat or you learn. I think these guys took the opportunity to learn. And that's what we're seeing. Marquise is 240 because he applied himself to changing what he eats, how much he eats, and when he eats it, He took the weight room completely to a new level from a growth and explosiveness standpoint. Really changed his body, and it's not just the weight, it's the body armor you put on to withstand 16, 17 games of football a season at the college and the professional level, right? What you're seeing is guys maturing. That's the best word I can use. They're understanding that 1-0 means every day, everybody, and everything. It's not just it's not a pick and choose type of thing.
Mario, for Jackson Cantwell, ideally, where do you see him best fitting right now?
Wherever he fits best on the offensive line. Those are things that I tend to not answer at this time of year because, every single one of these offensive linemen, if you ask them, they all played left tackle in high school, right? And they know when they come here, we show them examples of previous stops in our time here that no matter what you played, here you're going to play however you can help the team best. And that's a prior agreement. It's not just something we throw on those guys. But it is important that for guys to get really good at what they play, they have to play that spot a bunch, but they have to show the versatility and deal with some things that come with playing at different spots, because you just don't know what it's going to look like come game one. Middle of game 1, game 7, 9, you got to be able to go. And these guys they're smart. Being able to expand their knowledge and their football IQ is always a plus. So I'll have a better answer for you about 2 days out before game 1.
About the Sampsons offseason.
Yeah, one of the more impressive, and even last year. That guy played through a pretty significant issue with physically and whatnot. You got to see him. You got to watch him play. I don't want to overpraise him because he will think I've lost my mind if I did. But he's really explosive, strong, great balance, body control, strong hands, heavy-handed, light feet, can anchor, can slide his feet. Really a wide range and variety of different sets that can keep top-level defensive linemen off balance in terms of their plan on pass rush. and a great communicator, and very versatile. I think he could play all four and probably a fifth spot on the offensive line.
To have Ahmad Moden back on for the interior defensive line, just the trajectory that he's had over the last couple of years to see him go from not really playing much to starting at the end of the year to being a full-time guy last year. Can you speak to just watching the progression and him choosing to stay and do this for one more year?
Yeah, I think he epitomizes what college football used to be, and we still see bits and pieces of it, but what it should be. It's development, you know, and you never know when a guy's going to pop, and he's been popping the last year and a half or so, but now he's really different, right? And so maturity, same thing, right? The mind kind of, the eyes see a lot, the mind grows and develops, and you start realizing, you know, I need to learn from watching, I need to learn from doing, and he's become that. And you know what? He's had a great experience as a Miami Hurricane. It means a lot to him. And the former players have had a big impact on him. He wants to have that same impact on others.
When it comes to Darian, you know, he said he's embracing that leadership role. He also feels like the culture here has been embraced like a family. What did you see from him in his first day at the fall camp?
I think the culture embraced him because he's a hard worker. You know, this culture, if you're not, it'll probably spit you out. And it doesn't judge you, but it does, you know, it has certain standards, and those standards are things that he lived out in his life prior to his arrival. And when he came in full throttle, 100 miles per hour, and he's very engaging. Like, you'll find him, he'll find time to be around teammates and have them over. He'll find time to help guys understand parts of the game better to be more effective as a player. And then from a team dynamic standpoint, he understands like how to put the pieces together, who he can impact as a person, how he can grab a player and change his perspective on things to get the most out of that guy. He's a special guy now, raised the right way, and when you have that kind of talent to back it up, then it becomes powerful.
I know it's only been one practice in fall, but do you see any kind of growth or, you know, leap in like familiarity and comfort, you know, from the end of spring to now?
You know, in one practice, as you mentioned, it's hard, but yeah, I don't want to. This team's not ready to be praised. You know, this team for 8-9 months has heard intoxicating amounts of praise. You know, and it has no value. And really, the only value it has is to keep the entire staff and the program on edge as to the reality of we haven't done anything. And now that we're starting to have, you know, some success, it's time to say less and work more and realize the opportunity that we have. We're very driven, I can tell you that. The hours that are being put in by everybody, it's awesome to watch. I'm a big believer in that, and I'm a big believer in making sure that we teach our guys how to work at that level. So I'm a big fan of the Miami Hurricanes. Canes will be ready to roll.
Mario, talk a little bit about the stacking ability now to keep local players in South Florida, and also to keep the ones that aren't first-team players from going into the transfer portal.
Retention is always number one. It has to be. If you invest a certain amount of time in a player and reps and hours, you really want to see the continued development of players because they are always going to be your core. And then it always starts with home base, right? I mean, it's why when you get to Miami, you never want to leave the University of Miami, because if done the right way, if you give these players the opportunity to see a team that's playing at the highest level, winning on the big stage, graduating at the highest level, getting the best jobs in the community, impacting the community, going to the NFL, if you can show all those things so that these players could do it right in front of their families, then the choice is easy, okay? And there's proof of concept now, and every year is different, but we'd like to, you know, Miami's getting, we're getting better.
Coach Mario, I'm a former Marine. Yesterday I got to speak to Coach Feedy. He's a former military officer. What has he brought to the staff? Can you tell us what he's brought to the staff?
The hiring of Coach Feedy had as much to do with his levels of discipline. By the way, thank you for your service. His levels of discipline, his football acumen, his ability to lead and impact others. You know, he's a war hero. You know, what he has seen, us, we can't even fathom what he's seen and been through, you know. And so being around him and watching his career, because obviously I follow guys all the time, because I know there's going to be moments when opportunities come up and I got to hire a guy. It's a different level of detail. It's a different level of work ethic. It's a different level of demanding a standard and not relenting on it. I mean, he gets on something and he stays on it. He's not going to come off of it until it's accomplished. And I think the players sense that, they feel that, they see him, he's built like a tank, they see the time he invests in here and trains like them. His impact has been felt throughout not only the tight end group, but throughout the entire program.
Coach, last one's going to be Giselle.
Spanish for Telemundo.
Oh boy.
Just first day of camps, and then also if you can speak about your extension and being a part of this community.
Bueno, primer día siempre hay bastante estamos bastante entusiasmados. Gosh darn it.
Entusiasmado.
Man, if my mom was alive, I'd catch a right hook right now, right across the top of the head. Entusiasmado, de verdad que sí, porque hemos estado entrenando el verano entero y estos jugadores están preparados para la tremenda temporada. Y de verdad que muchas gracias a la administración por su fe en mí y para dirigir el equipo de fútbol. Me encanta, yo soy un hijo de esta ciudad y estamos de verdad esperando tremenda oportunidad con esta temporada. Ooh, that was choppy. Ooh, let's edit.